Hey, hello everybody. It's me again, your friend, Steve Mungai. I'm here to teach you a little bit and to help you. Thank you so much for those of you who have already taken time to subscribe to my channel. Those of you who have pushed the notification button, thank you. If you are here for the first time and you have not done that yet, kindly go ahead and do so. If you're here for the second or third time and you have still not subscribed, I ask you to do so, and it's going to be a great thing. Thank you. Now, today I want to talk about growth. I want to talk about how you grow your company, how you grow your church, how you grow your career, or how you grow anything in as far as life is concerned, including how you can grow your wealth, your finances, and what have you. You know, the problem we have is that many times people want to grow, but they don't know how to do it, or they don't know some of the basic things that they need to put into place so that they can be able to grow. And I thank God because the Bible talks a lot concerning issues to do with growth. Now remember, anytime we talk about growth, we have to keep on reminding ourselves that nothing that is dead grows. Or rather, let me put it in another way, it's only things that are living that are able to grow. That means there has to be life in something for it to be able to grow. So when we talk about growing anything, we will be looking at it in terms of the life that is in that thing. Whether it has to do with your career, whether it has to do with your business, you are probably an entrepreneur, things have not been moving the way you desire to have them move. They are not going. And I'm going to be using my notes as I do so, and you will allow me and excuse me as I do so. And I know it's going to be a great thing as I teach you and as I help you in as far as the teaching is concerned. Now remember, why I'm doing this is because my desire for you is for you to develop, for you to find yourself moving to another level in as far as your life is concerned, and especially when it comes to your financial area. Because I know when you're doing well financially, you will also do well in other things. That's a truth and that's a fact in life. People who are wealthy do much better than people who have no money or people who are broke. I know it, I've done it, I've been there, I've experienced it, and I know both worlds. Right now where God has brought me, I know it is much better than where I'm coming from. And therefore, please just know that I'm there because I want to help you to move to another step in as far as your life is concerned. Now, I'm going to talk about growth, dealing or dwelling on three things, because as far as I know, or as far as I'm concerned, growth has to do with three very important things. Number one, growth is driven by people. Growth is people driven. Where I'm going to explain to you exactly what I mean. Number two, growth is costly. And number three, growth has to be intentional. I'm going to dwell on these 3 points, and I'm going to deal with them because when you don't understand that growth has to do with people, or when you don't understand that growth is intentional or growth is costly, then you find yourself living a life and you are basically going nowhere, doing nothing, struggling, and simply crying and wondering why is it that you're not seeing things happening or changing in as far as your life or your things are concerned. In Mark chapter number 2, verse number 27, allow me to read this. I love using the Bible as I talk to you about growth is people driven, because that's where I'm going to start. Mark 2:27, the Bible says, "Then Jesus said to them, the Sabbath was made to meet the needs of the people." That's New Living Translation. Then Jesus said to them, the Sabbath was made to meet the needs of the people, and not the people to meet the requirements of the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even over the Sabbath. Now, when I read this scripture the very first time, I was like, oh, you know, and especially when I consider the things that we sometimes do, especially when we talk about the Sabbath. In our modern day, most of the time the Sabbath is actually Sunday, where we have so many things we do because we want to fulfill some particular routines and particular rituals for Sunday. But Jesus is saying, listen, this day was not meant for the people to fulfill some routines and to fulfill some rituals. No, 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 no. But this day was meant for the needs of the people to be met. Which basically means, as far as God is concerned, why we come together is so that our needs may be met. We come together so that needs may be met. So whenever we meet and gather in churches, we do so that our needs may be met. Now, that is not what I'm talking about today. But there is only one thing I wanted to mention there, is so that the needs of the people may be met. Now, if you look at Proverbs chapter number 14 and verse number 28, the Bible says, a king's greatness depends on how many people he rules. Without them, he is nothing. What this actually tells me is one of the parameters for growth is seen from the number of people that have been influenced, that have been changed or impacted by the product you offer. That means when we talk about a king's greatness depends on how many people he rules. So the number of people that have been influenced, the number of people that has been changed or impacted by the product you have offered is a parameter for growth. Is a parameter for growth. Now the beautiful thing is that this influence is usually translated into finances. Why is that so? It's so because the reward for changing the lives of the people, the reward of touching the lives of the people, the reward usually is attached to finances and to money that come your way. That is why anybody who comes your way and helps you with a need, or anybody you go their way and you help them with a need, chances are high that as you are leaving them or as you are leaving one another, you will exchange money. You help them, they give you money. They help you, you give them money. That's how it works. But you see, for us to know that you're growing, then it is going to be, the parameter we are going to be using is by the number of people that are going to be talking about what you have done to influence them, what you have done to change them, to impact them, or kind of just bring a difference in as far as their lives are concerned. So it is crucial for us to understand that people determine your growth. When you don't have people around you, when you have no people that are actually attesting and saying that out of your product, out of whatever it is that you're doing, their lives have become this and that, or they have intentionally decided to follow you, or they are coming your way because of what they are seeing you're producing, or what they are seeing you're giving, then we know there is nowhere you're going and you're not growing. The first thing we have to look at is the growth that comes from the influence you give to the people. That basically means that you need to value people. And you need to understand that people are an asset that God has given to you. People are an asset. Everybody you see around is actually an asset. An asset in what sense? An asset in the sense that in his pocket or in her pocket, she carries the money for you, which can be given to you if you have something you can offer to them. I like that. Don't you like that? And every day I wake up in the morning, I tell God, God, help me to get people. Get me people that I can be able to change their lives. Get me people that I can be able to help. Because the more I help, the more I know you will use them to pay me. And the way they pay me or reward me is through finances. It's through finances. So you have to be keen about the influence you're putting upon the people. It doesn't matter who you are. As long as you know you are leading a group of people, you need to understand that that group you are leading has a lot to do with your financial growth, and at the same time has a lot to do with your general growth in as far as life is concerned. You have to value people. You really do have to value people. You need to understand that success is a collection of relationships. Success is a collection of relationships. Your future, your money is connected to people or to someone. You know, a doctor has to have patience for him to be able to do what he's doing. A lawyer has to have clients for him to be able to do it. A pastor has to have a congregation for him to continue with the business of pastoring the church. All the people are connected with one another in one way or the other, and out of that connection, we develop ourselves. That is why you must value people, and that is why you must also be in the lookout, looking for people who can actually help you and people you can be able to help. When you help people, your life cannot remain the same. So I started by saying when we talk about growth, When we talk about how to grow, the first thing you need to understand is that growth has to be people driven. Growth has to be people driven. It's all about people. You don't lead trees, you don't lead houses, and you don't lead furniture and what have you. You lead people. And if you lead people, and you don't even lead animals, you lead people. And if you have to lead people, if you're going to grow, then whatever you are leading them into, or whatever product you're giving them or offering to them, there always has to be a reward back to you that is going to also help you in one way or the other, and especially financially. That is why you need to value people. That is why you need to relate with people. That is why you need to know that people are important in your life. A king's greatness is only known by how many people that he rules over. A king's greatness, in my translation, would be is known by how many people he influences, how many people he has impacted, and how many people he has changed through the product he has offered them. The question I have for you today: who are the people that are around you, and how are you relating with them? What is it that you're doing to change somebody else's life? What is it that you're doing that can actually cause you to be paid for? I just received this morning my edition. I told you there are there are 3 books I'm working on right now. One is already in the print. It's going to be ready in the next few days. It's called The Qualities of a Great Leader. Then I have another one which has actually gone to the editors, and they sent me a draft this morning. The book is called When Servants Lead. It's a beautiful book. It's all about servanthood and why you need to be a servant for you to have power. Why you need to be a servant for you to have power. That's another one. And then the other one I'm going to be talking about is My Journey to Richness. That is going to be my 3rd book. This is happening at this time together. Why is that so? Because I have made a product, and out of that product, I know beyond any reasonable doubt that that product is going to pay me back. You see, until you are able to influence people, until you are able to impact people, until you are able to change people in one way or the other, you should not expect to be rewarded in one way or the other. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So don't sit there thinking, oh, I have no employment. Oh, I don't have somebody who has given me a job. I need somebody to employ me. Rise up and start making use of what you already have in you, and start influencing people. Start changing the lives of the people. Start impacting them in one way or the other. And by the way, for your information, you don't have to be a career person or a professional to do that. You know, some of us, when I'm thinking like that, they are telling me, you know, I've not gone to school to be a doctor. I've not gone to school to be this and to be the other. So how do you expect me to do this? It's not about that. I just want you to look back into yourself and see what is it that you have as a gift? What is it that you have as a talent? What is it that you have as an ability? Because when you combine the things you have, out of those things, you can influence somebody, you can touch somebody, you can impact somebody, you can cause somebody's life to change. And I believe me, you, my friend, when that happens, you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded. My English, I know I'm talking very African English, but you will be rewarded. And the reward will come in form of money. The beautiful thing is that when you change people's lives, most times the reward always comes in form of finances. Therefore, look for people to influence. And when you're doing that, value them. Know that people are the ones who carry answers to your needs right now. This morning, I got a call. I had a client that we made an offer yesterday. I got a call from the one who was selling us the property. They said, we are in contract. We have accepted your offer. And when that happens to me, I get excited. Why is that so? Because I have helped a client to buy a house, but out of the house they are buying, to me it is chingly, it is money. Why? Because when you influence people, when you impact them, when you change them, when you help them, there is always a reward that has to do with money. So the first step, or the first thing you need to understand when we talk about how to grow your things, how to grow your business as a CEO, as a pastor, as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, as whatever it is you are, the first thing is to understand that growth has to be people driven. The second thing, and this is very important, is that growth has to cost you. You will not grow if you are not willing and ready to pay the cost. Growth is expensive and it's very challenging. It will stretch you beyond, but the outcome is always tremendous. Growth is expensive. Growth is challenging. You have to pay the cost if you want to grow. But remember, at the end of it all, whatever it is that you have done, whatever it is that has stretched you, whatever pains you may have gone through or you will go through as you're growing, at the end of the day, I have some good news that the outcome is amazing. The outcome is tremendous. And I have 4 things that you need to understand when it comes to issues of paying the cost for growth. There are 4 things that you need to understand. The first thing is what I call personal cost. Many times, what I have learned with experience is that if I need anything to develop, if I need anything to grow, if I need anything to be impactful, and I need anything to look like something is happening, I must be willing to pay the cost. And the cost sometimes will be to sacrifice my time. It will be to sacrifice sometimes even family. And I know families out there, some of you, if your daddy is a leader or your mommy is a leader somewhere, some of you can attest with what I'm saying, that my mama has been away, my papa has been away, my papa has been locked in their office, has been locked in whatever they're doing, and sometimes it may be looking like as though they are not there for you. But listen to me, it is sacrifices they are making for a better tomorrow. They are denying themselves the pleasure of now so that tomorrow will be great. If you desire to see anything grow, you must be willing to pay personal cost. You must be willing to do away with pleasures and to do away with entertainment. You must be willing to leave anything that distracts you from focusing on where you're going. Sometimes we spend too much time doing things that we are not supposed to be doing. We spend too much time in social affairs. We spend too much in social media. We spend so much time on the phone with irrelevant and unnecessary calls. We spend so much time doing things and watching things that are not building us or adding any value to us. Until you know that growth is costly, I tell you the truth, you will never see growth in your life. The second thing is that you must pay spiritual cost. Now, what is spiritual cost? Spiritual cost is that you have your own private times of prayer and study of the word. Anybody who wants to develop, you must take time to build your spirit. Now remember, man is in 3 parts. Me as a man, I'm in 3 parts. The first part is the body. The second part is the spirit. And the third part is the soul or the mind. That is what makes the triune me, the me. But the real me is the spirit. And the spirit is what connects with God. The spirit is what talks with the spirit world. The body carries the spirit and the soul. The soul is the mind, the intellect mind, the thing that gives me reason, the one that helps me to rationalize and to think about things and plan things. It is done in the mind, the heart, and the mind. They are considered as the soul. Now listen to me. Those things must be nourished. They must be nourished. And how do you nourish them? Number 1, it is using your private time with prayer with God. Interact in the spiritual world. You know, it is important to understand that when you engage in the spiritual things, it doesn't matter who you are. When you engage in spiritual things, there is always something that takes place in your life. So you need to pray, you need to study the word, you need to take times of meditations, you need to assimilate material inside you that helps your spirit man to develop and to grow. You must surround yourself with good mentors and teachers, and at the same time you must always remember there is always somebody somewhere that has what you need to help you climb your ladder of success. Why am I bringing that in that place? It's because it takes a lot of humility for you to understand there are people above you. And when you know there are people above you at whatever level you are at, maybe right now financially you're talking about 5 zeros. There is another one who's talking about 6 zeros. There is another one who's talking about 7 zeros and 8 and what have you. I mean, we are at different ladders in as far as our wealth is concerned and as far as our things are concerned. But listen to me, in life there is always someone who is a step ahead of you. And if there is somebody ahead of you, you must understand that through humility, that individual can teach you on how they got there. So what am I trying to say? Always remember these people are there, and therefore you need to look for them. You need to ask for their mentorship. You need to ask them to coach you. You need to ask them to help you. It does not matter at what level you are. Any person who is wise is always going to go for wisdom from elsewhere. If you go to the book of 1st and 2nd Kings, you will find somebody by the name of King Solomon. You find this is a man who was extremely wealthy, and at the same time, he was extremely wise. The Bible says the kings of other nations used to go to him as a consultant. They used to go and consult with him, and they used to go and sit at his feet and listen to him as he spoke to them the wisdom that God had put in his heart. Listen to me. There is always somebody, and you must be willing. Nourish your inner man. Build your inner self. Develop your inner self, because when you do so, that cost will help you grow tremendously. Number 3, you must be willing to pay emotional cost. So number 1, I said you're paying personal cost. Number 2, I said you're paying spiritual cost. Number 3, I'm saying you must pay emotional cost. As you go up, not everybody will be happy with you. And for that reason, you must be willing to contend, to fight, to be aggressive. You must be willing to put your eyes focused on where you're going and not think about the people who are around you. You need to understand, emotionally you'll be affected, because most of the things for people who are growing, they will be doing them, they will be risking them. There are times they will be making decisions, you are making decisions, and you are making them against something that you know is not available. For example, you're talking about buying something, or buying a property, or building something, or doing something somewhere. But at the back of your mind, you do know that the finances for doing that are not enough, or even they are not there. But yet you're speaking it and you're moving. There are times you're made to make some decisions which you are in your spirit, your heart is beating as you're doing that. But because you are a leader and you desire to grow, you put aside your emotions and go ahead and do what needs to be done. You must be willing to do that. And then also emotionally, you do understand that the higher you go, the more people get away from you. The more you go to the top, the more alone you are. You may be surrounded by thousands of people. Maybe as a pastor, your church is full of people. Maybe as a CEO, you have a company that has so many people. Maybe as an influencer in one way or the other, there are people who are always there. Maybe you're an artist, you're a singer, maybe you're a performer. When you are in that theater, when you're in that place, in that stadium, and you see the crowds, they're cheering you. But at the end of the day, you do know once you are away from them, you are alone. And that being alone has what is been very destructive to many leaders, because nobody wants to come near you. Some people think you're a semi-god. Some people come to you with so much respect, they cannot talk to you in a natural way. They don't talk to you like you are a normal human being like them. The way they behave, the way they treat you, the way they honor you, the way they handle you. Sometimes if you're not careful, that can become very destructive to you. But then remember, this is a cost you're paying. It's an emotional cost. You have decided, I'm doing this, and for that reason, I am going to pay it with my emotions. Yes, I will be alone sometimes. Yes, it is true, I will look like people are fighting me. Yes, it is true, sometimes I will look like as though people are not for me and they are speaking against me. Yes, it is true, all these things are happening, but at the end of the day, you end up achieving your goal, and that is to grow and to develop. The growth is tremendous. You must be willing to pay the emotional cost. And then number 4 is that you must pay financial costs. What does that mean? Spend money for personal development. Develop your leaders and develop your workers. You must be willing to sacrifice your money to develop yourself. And developing yourself does not necessarily mean buying clothes for yourself, or buying cars for yourself, and buying houses for yourself. Those are very important, and of course you need to do them. But when we talk about developing yourself, we're talking about developing your inner man, developing your inner self, your mind, taking time to read, taking time to attend classes, taking time to listen to people and to have mentors over your life, taking time to have people coaching you on particular areas. And all these things cost money, because for you to get books, you have to buy them. For you to get material to listen to, you have to get it through money. For you to get mentors to coach you, you have to pay them. By the way, today, even for you to have a spiritual father or to have a pastor, many times you are paying in one way or the other. They may not put a fixed price for you, but many times, how is it we do it? We go to them carrying an envelope. We go to them carrying something. You are literally paying for the services they are offering to you. We don't like calling it paying, but that's the reality here. Whenever you are doing that, you as a leader must be willing to pay the cost for yourself to be developed. And not only that, you also must be willing to pay the cost for your workers and for the people around you to also be developed intellectually, to be developed internally, to be developed in every aspect of their lives. There is nothing as troubling and nothing as bad as when the CEO is growing, or the pastor is growing, or the entrepreneur is growing, or the manager is growing, or the people at the top are growing, and all the other people down here, the subordinates and what have you, are going nowhere. They are growing nothing. You, who is a powerful influencer, learn to develop the people that are around you. If you have a team that is around you, develop them. Don't go up by yourself. If you're going up, let them go with you. They may not be where you are, but let them also go up with you. Let them be saying that since I met this man, my life has not been the same again. How beautiful it is. How beautiful it is when you hear your own workers and your own subordinates telling you, you know, since I joined you, my finances have changed. Since I joined you, my academics have changed. I am better off than I was before I came here. Why? Because you have decided to pay the cost to make it happen for them. Then you have to ensure that you avail the right and up-to-date resources for your team. Let them have proper tools in their hands as far as whatever it is that they are doing. Spend time and money with your various teams. Motivate them, reward them, give them incentives where applicable. The truth is, the better the team around you is, the better you become, and growth is inevitable. Use ways that would inspire them to commit to what you want done or achieved. Make them own it up. There is no way people will own up what you're doing until they have seen you're willing to spend on them. I feel so disgusted and so disappointed when I listen to some leaders or some people who are leading a group of people or employed a group of people, and you look at how much they earn versus how much their workers are earning. It's an embarrassment. Okay, I have no problem. You are the vision carrier, you are the product producer, you are the inventor of whatever it is that you're doing, you're the one who produced that book and everything. Of course, you should get the biggest share of the lion's share. That is yours by right in any way. But then don't look like you are a slave driver. Don't look like you are a master to slaves and servants, in the sense that you're giving them peanuts and you're expecting them to perform at their maximum. Some companies and even some churches, it's embarrassing, especially even in church setups. And allow me, pastors, to talk to you for a moment, because I have been a pastor. Listen to me. When you have a staff member who is living in your compound, or who is living in the church office, or not living rather, who is working at the church office, or working in the church premises, or working in whatever capacity in the church, and you don't pay them, how do you expect them to live? You as a man yourself, you are being paid. You are taking all the collections, the tithes and everything. You're taking them, taking care of yourself, taking care of your cars, taking care of your house, taking care of your vacation and out of you. But you are the workers in your institution are all struggling, crying every day. You have made them think that the only thing they can do is pray, 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 pray. God will do something. Yet God has supplied you so that you can supply them. Listen to me, my friend. You must use every way possible to inspire them. You must commit yourself to them and help them to achieve. Let them be able to own up that which you're doing, because they can see how you are helpful to them. Pay them well. Take them to seminars. Take them for vacations once in a while also. You see, the team that is around you, if you're not willing to pay the costs for them in terms of finances, that team can never perform the way it's supposed to perform. I'm talking to you who is leading a group, you who desires to see growing. These are things that you need to put into your system, because when you receive this word that I'm giving you, you start practicing it and exercising it, your life will not be the same. I said there are 3 things that we are going to do, but what I'm saying right now, we are going to make this as a part 1 and part 2. I've dealt with 2 things, that growth is people driven, and I've also said that growth is costly. I'll be dealing in another video, and I'll be talking about growth must be intentional. I believe this hour, as I've talked to you, I'm saying something that is making sense to you. You want to see yourself growing? there are 3 things that you need to understand. Number 1, growth is people driven. You have to value people. You have to know that your success is depending on how you are handling your people. Number 2, you have to know that growth is costly. And when you talk about costliness, there are 4 things we are looking at. We are looking at your personal cost. Number 2, there is spiritual cost. Number 3, there is emotional cost. And number 4, there is financial cost. Those are things you must put in place if you're going to see things happening in your life. That is just a part of the series that I'm doing in as far as how to grow your organization, your ministry, your company, whatever it is that you're growing. That is part 1. In part 2, I'm going to be dealing with growth must be intentional. I'm not going to do it in this video right now because of my time. My time has run out, but I'll be dealing with growth is intentional. Watch out for that video. Don't miss it out. Otherwise, thank you so much. God bless you so much. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And at the same time, if you like, I will be so excited. If you can comment, it is even better. Let me hear what you think as far as this teaching is concerned. And also let me know whether you are a leader in a way, one way or the other. Are you a CEO somewhere? Are you leading a group somewhere? Do you have an organization? Are you a pastor? Whatever it is, if you can be able to just say something there to back up with what I'm saying, or maybe ask a question, I would really, really gladly do it. Now remember, I have a book coming up very soon, The Qualities of a Great Leader. This book is going to be covering some of the things that I'm talking about today. And listen to me, there is nothing as powerful as when you are able to influence people, impact them, and change their lives. Because that is what you were meant for. I like keeping things simple. And listen, let's all become a great YouTube family. Thank you and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.